The NBA season is back. There's been a lot of talk about our one team, the LA Lakers. We've been fans of literally forever, and the talk is one Anthony Davis. Somehow in the first game against Denver, he goes scoreless in the second half. I personally don't know how that's possible because I think that Anthony Davis is that good. I think he's that talented where I think that's physically impossible for him to ever to go through a half like that. But it's been a tale of that since going into the playoffs last year. He had a game where he had 40 and like 12 rebounds, but he comes back the next game and have 11. And it's just been a very like roller coaster up and down thing with Anthony Davis. To the point where now the question is being asked: is he going to be the reason why the Lakers don't get back to the finals? What's your take on the Lakers roster as a whole right now, and then how does Anthony Davis tie into LeBron's chances of going back to the finals to go for a fifth ring?
Well, one thing I think the Lakers need to address is they don't have another big to, for instance, to bang with Jokic like they did when the bubble. They had
They had Dwight, they had
Dwight
JaVale McGee.
and they had JaVale.
Yeah.
Because Anthony's a four. He's a stretch four.
And he's talked about that. He said that he doesn't want to play center, so to speak. Darvin Ham wants him to play more center, and he wants him to also shoot more threes. But I think from an offensive perspective, like I know Jokic is arguably probably the best player in the game right now. Anthony Davis is a really good offensive player. I don't think Jokic can really do anything with him, especially on the defensive end. I think AD's a better defender than Jokic. So which leads me to this wonder, like what happens to him. And then after all this talk that the Nuggets had over the season, after winning the championship, calling them like we the Lakers daddy, all that stuff, and then AD is talking to LeBron. He's got an interview saying that we can't wait. And you don't think like from a competitive standpoint, you say all this and then you come out and do that. That's why I feel like it was so significant because it was against them. They're the ones that swept you on your home floor.
Exactly.
And Jokic just gave it to you. You know, you kind of take that personal, but I feel like he's kind of brushing it off with like it's not that big a deal, where I think it's a huge deal.
You know what? I personally look at a lot of these new players. They get these big contracts. They get all this money.
Just sign that big extension.
And it's not as important to them what we're talking about as it is to us. You know, in terms of showing up, competing, you know, winning at all costs.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like, if you remember a few years back, LeBron said, I'm going back to my life, you know, doing whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
And you all go back to your poor,
basically call everybody broken on wrist. That first finals loss they had, and he went to the Heat and lost to the Mavericks.
And it's kind of, to me, consistent with a lot of these players nowadays. It's, especially, I mean, you look at Harden with his issues with the Sixers.
That's another topic I wanted to ask you about as well.
You know, it's always about money with these guys, but you haven't won a championship yet. And yet your hand is always out for more money, more money, more money. I deserve more money. I wish they would
real quick,
let the winner take all.
Yeah, real quick before we get into Harden, we're going to get right into that
Sure.
soon. But like with Davis, what do you think it is with him specifically? Am I overlooking Anthony Davis? Is he really just not that guy that I thought he was? That should take the reins from LeBron. LeBron is very confident that AD is the guy that's going to be up in the Raptors one day with the Lakers as one of the better bigs that the Lakers have had. He's basically saying that I'm handing the reins off to him. He's going to be the reason why we win the championship. Am I overthinking that with AD? Like, is he not the person I thought he was?
So is LeBron.
Is LeBron mistaking Anthony Davis for that?
I believe he is. I believe he's just trying to lift this guy and trying to motivate him. But I mean, the statistics don't lie. The numbers say he's not the guy.
But it's weird because like when he's on, he looks like one of the best players in the league. That's the thing that's weird
That's
to me. Like
today,
watching him in New Orleans before he came to the Lakers, he was an MVP candidate for a team that wasn't that good. And look, I played against Anthony Davis, if you don't remember, my sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
I played against D'Angelo Russell, guys that were like top 5 picks. To get a first up and close like personal matchup with him, I could see it. Just the length was there, the IQ was there. He was more of like a playmaker. The offense ran through Terrence Jones, who was like their top scorer with that Kentucky team.
Right.
But you saw why AD was the #1 pick. Defense, playmaking ability, obviously scoring. So when he gets to New Orleans, he starts to light it up. And then the rumors that the Lakers are about to get him because they need a big. LeBron's there now, but he doesn't have that sidekick with him.
Right.
AD's here, like, okay, championship. and they got it in 2020, albeit the bubble. Everyone's got different opinions about that. But now it's just like you see AD dominate at times, but he's absolutely unstoppable. And then there's times where he just disappears. Is he going to be why they don't win a championship? Or is it other things that the Lakers need to address? You said they need like another athletic big. Jackson Hayes is there from New Orleans. He's a young kid, athletic, but they haven't played him as much.
And he's not a big. He plays a lot like Anthony Davis. Jump shots.
Jackson Hayes? He's the light skinned kid that you got.
Oh, the big kid from
New Orleans.
From Notre Dame, right? Wasn't that Notre Dame?
I can't remember what college he went to right now, but I know he was with Zion in New Orleans last year, and the Lakers signed him as a free agent.
I don't know why I'm thinking about the kid from Dallas, the big that they had.
You're thinking of Christian Wood.
Wood.
Yeah.
So, again, I don't think Anthony Davis really cares enough to put the work in the off season.
There was all this talk about him doing like jiu-jitsu training, martial arts training, trying to get his body right because he heard all the crap that people been saying about him.
With LeBron.
Honestly,
you with the all-time great,
shape. I feel like you should just stay in LeBron's house all summer long, train with him, and get it done because this man has, in his 21st season, looks better than him. He looks like the best player on the Lakers again, and that's a problem.
It is because he can't keep up that pace through the entire season and the playoffs.
You saw it in the first couple of games with Denver, especially. His baskets came in transition where he's bulldozing through people like he always does. But when you get back on defense, he making shoot jump shots. He was 1 of 6 from the field that game because he's never really been a jump shooter.
Then if you run into Denver, you got to go to the mile high where the air is thin,
and you got to make shots. And I feel like the Lakers aren't gonna be able to just like drive to the rim and like impose their will all the time. Because there's teams in the West that can match with that
physically, absolutely.
And so you wonder, like, with this team, like, who's going to make jump shots for you? Torian Prince, like, had a decent showing, made a couple of corner threes. You got Reeves, who I've underestimated Austin Reeves. He's really good.
He's good. He's very good.
Yeah.
And he wants it. You know, he wants the ball. He wants to be a part of the show.
Yep.
He shows up night in and night out.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the physical abilities that
doesn't have a lot of athleticism, but like
a lot of guys have. He can't dunk on you and push you around, but he can
he wants to kill you. You see him on offense.
Yeah, he gets his work done.
Yeah, I agree.
And he works hard on defense. He's not a ball dominant player.
Nope.
You know, he's very efficient.
Yeah.
And if Anthony Davis was constantly playing at the level that he played last night, night in and night out, they'd have a chance.
You see it. What do you got? 30 points last night.
Yeah,
couldn't be stopped. And it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like I think Anthony Davis is that good where I feel like he is the guy that you can hang your franchise over. But it's just he can't keep being this inconsistent as he is. The Lakers are not going to make it far.
I've never really seen a basketball player like that before.
Being up and down like that.
Yeah, it's something new. So I don't quite know how to.
You think it's psychological, or
it has to be?
Yeah.
It has to be. It has to be a point where he shuts down. There's a lot of mental illness going around. A lot of athletes don't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something going on that makes him shut down like that. He's not, to me, fully aware of what's going on. There's no way you make the statements you made. You take the sweep from last year, and you claim you worked all summer for this, and then come out in the second half and don't do anything.
In that game against that opponent, that's what hits me the most. Like you can't talk about that after what happened last year, then talk and then go out like that against them. They're the ones you got to go through to get back to the finals, and they think they own you right now.
They do, based on second half performance. And with 18 in the first half, you would think, like, whenever I had a good first half, you need to be paying attention to me in the second half.
Exactly.
Because I'm
coming. You going for 35, 40.
I'm coming.
Having the first half like that.
And he just doesn't seem to care. He stays hurt a lot on top of that.
Yeah.
So,
And again, it comes back to, like, how is a 38 going on 39-year-old LeBron, one, in better shape than you, and two, able to stay on the floor longer?
You should be ashamed.
Quite frankly, I'd be a little embarrassed.
Exactly.
It makes you look
worse.
I know it's LeBron, and he's one of the greatest players we've ever seen. from like whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to rank him. But one thing I applaud this man is that he has made himself available. He doesn't take games off.
Exactly.
He does whatever he needs to do to stay on the floor, and you rarely see like, and knock on wood, you rarely see like that crazy injury he has that's going to take him out for half the season or
right.
a full
like
season.
Kobe had.
Yeah.
Different guys. So there are two reasons. One reason is Anthony Davis. They won't win. The other one is Denver, maybe Phoenix. I think he'll play better against Phoenix because they're not as physical.
And they don't have that rim protector either.
Yeah.
Nurkic is like Nurkic is a big body. He uses his body for leverage, but he's not like a rim protector. That's how you saw LeBron go by him at those last couple of buckets to win the game.
Yes.
It's relatively easy because he's never really been that kind of defender.
And you hope that Kawhi and PG3.
And Westbrook looks really good with the Clippers too. So you gotta look at them as well. And you can't forget about Golden State. Their guys are still there. Those guys are still there.
And then you got Sacramento on the rise. So the West is fully loaded.
Yep.
And you got 82 games. And you got to give LeBron some time off during the season. Yeah. Maybe not physically from the game, but
within the game, like
taking time off on offense.
Yeah.
And you take over.
That's what
a lot of those games.
That's what they brought Davis in for.
Exactly.
Where it's like, look, there's times where I gotta chill. I'm gonna throw you the ball, go do your thing, and get buckets.
And I'm gonna rest
and
on
then
offense.
Get myself rested when the fourth quarter comes. If it's tight, now I got some juice that I can get us like taking home.
Exactly. You're right. Yeah.
So, I mean, as the season goes on, we saw it last year. Like the tank kind of ran out on LeBron when he ran to Denver. LeBron was like shooting like 12-13% from three. He still was jacking because I think honestly his legs were starting to go a little bit.
Anybody in their right mind would be tired.
Yeah.
After all those games, that long season, all the way up to the finals of the.
And then you're going into the basket on this big tub of lard who can't be stopped, Jokic. I mean,
kind of way.
It's amazing that this guy can't jump over anything. He can't jump over my shoe.
Yes.
And he just is unstoppable. There's nothing you can do about it.
Very crafty guy.
I mean, nothing. But saying we're going to go to James Harden a little bit. You know about all the drama and everything. You know, Doc Rivers is now an ESPN analyst calling the games now. There's a lot of chatter that in that last game 7 that James Harden might have quit on the Sixers flat out. And now for the third time he's asking to be traded away from a team. He wanted out of Houston. Wanted out of Brooklyn when he got there.
He wanted out of OKC too. You
basically
about that?
Well, OKC. I think that was a weird thing. They were shooting between Serge Ibaka and Harden. I don't know why they chose Serge Ibaka over James Harden.
I do now.
Well, I guess maybe now you see it. But in that moment, it's like you imagine keeping that trio together. Do the Golden State Warriors ever become who we know them to be if they never blew that 3-1 lead?
But they're different kind of guys too. I mean, they don't. Harden wants to shoot all the balls.
But it's weird. Like in OKC, he was kind of like the point guard that they needed to take Westbrook off the ball and let him kind of be Westbrook.
But they brought him off the bench. He was their sixth man.
I know, but like the offense, I thought looked better. And I thought in that finals when he went against Miami, I was like, why not put Harden in the point guard? Have your best guns out in the first in the starting 5 versus their big guns, right, and then see what you got.
But the drop off was so much on the second unit,
yeah,
and the way Harden plays, he wants the ball all the time. It was better for him to come off the bench and control the second unit and take all the shots because he was a great scorer. He can score at will.
Yeah.
And he plays no defense.
0.
So,
that was never his name.
Yeah, he was a better fit. And then he got his opportunity in Houston. And like you said, when that wasn't working his way,
wanted out. Got to Brooklyn with KD and Kyrie. Kyrie totally blew up the whole situation to begin with. Now he wants out of there. Now you're seeing him asking out of Philly, to the point where he was gone for 10 days. We don't know what the situation was, but the team didn't know. That's
right.
The thing that bothers me. Like, okay, if you got a situation, you got a situation, but the team still has to know what's going on. You can't just leave. You can't just leave. So he comes back thinking he's going to play and going to travel. The team says, no, you're not coming with us.
Yeah.
And he's all pissed off about it. Man, you can't just leave and then come back thinking you're going to play. Like,
and you got to think about your guys. Those are your comrades. Those are your brothers.
How do you, if you're his teammate right now, like, how do you even look at him? Do you even want to play with this guy?
Exactly. Can't depend on him.
Do you would you want this guy back on your team? Do you want to play with him? You want to like just say, yo, find a way to get him out of here?
I don't understand these guys. They got everything in the world and working for them.
A lot of it.
I mean, so if you're upset with
The GM,
right.
Daryl Morey. I know he's talking about how he lied to him and all that. Okay, cool.
Okay, but what about your guys? What about your teammates? You know, I mean, okay, you can be mad at him. Just don't speak to him. But go out there and play and help your team to win and earn your money. Because that seems to be the most important thing to him anyway. It's not about winning.
It was centered around. It's rumored that it was centered around the money. I guess like maybe Daryl Morey had promised him a supermax deal or something like that with Philly.
He was not.
And maybe he wasn't going to do that. So
well, what it looks like is he wasn't the guy that was going to make the last decision.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can wish well for people all you want, but if the decision is not in your hands, it's just not in your hands. So to be upset, okay, but you still have time on your current contract. You trying to get teams to pick you up, but you're not showing them that you are going to be a guy that they can depend on.
Yeah, it's just, and recently, I can't believe it, but the Bulls are looking like a possible trading destination for Harden.
That was just the Clippers.
It was just the Clippers, but the Clippers are like flat out say like we're not going to talk about it right now. Like it's basically put on hold until maybe the trade deadline close to All-Star weekend.
I guess they probably want to see.
They probably want to
see
how this develops and everything.
Yeah.
But this happened recently, like as far as maybe 2 hours ago. The Bulls apparently have some interest in Harden. I don't think it's going to be much. Chicago doesn't have much to begin with.
Right.
But I was starting to think that Harden is starting to be on the cusp of playing his last few games in the NBA altogether.
Yeah.
Because. And I'm a James Harden fan. I love watching James Harden, especially in Houston.
I didn't like how he flopped all the time, and all those. I didn't like watching him play. He's a nice guy. I'm glad he made his money. I never liked his game. I just didn't. Didn't seem to be. He used the referees a whole bunch. All that. Much so they had to change the rules.
Literally, they had to change the rules because he shot so many free throws in one season. It was ridiculous.
He stole a lot of those shots.
Stole a lot of them.
And a lot of guys were just sweeping through people.
And they were taking that move from Harden, and they were getting in the free throw line like that. Where the NBA had to step in and say, "No, we're not taking that anymore."
Exactly.
And in the playoffs, he just continues. He's got a legacy. His legacy is him choking in the playoffs. You saw it with Houston. They were up 3-2 on the Clippers. They should have won that series.
Exactly.
They choke. Comes back, gets Chris Paul. They have KD and the Warriors down 3-2. Game 6 in Houston. Right. Paul gets hurt. Okay, you have that. But you're James Harden. You're good enough to get your team a one game.
40, 45, 50.
You're good enough to get your team one game. Like AI did way back when they played Kobe in LA. You're good enough of that good a player to get your team at least one game.
Exactly.
Smoke that one. Let's fast forward to last season. Game 6 or 7 in Boston. Comes out, looks absolutely terrible. After
having a 43-point
game 1 in Boston. So it's another player that we see that has the capability of doing that, but hasn't been consistent.
I think he's a lot different from Anthony Davis in that Anthony seems to have psychological issues. With me, Harden seems to not care.
You said AD didn't care either.
Well, not in the way that Harden seems to be. He doesn't care about championships.
Gotcha.
He cares about the money, shooting all the balls. They're completely different players, the way that they approach the game. Anthony Davis plays the game, he plays defense.
Right.
Okay? When he's playing up to his potential, he's one of the best in the game on both ends.
Yeah.
So you can win with a guy like that. You can't win with a guy that won't play defense.
But even with Harden's scoring ability and also playmaking ability, he's made Philly at least watchable. They've been somewhat of a contender. But it's like you run into the likes of Milwaukee or Boston, and those are two teams I want to talk about with you as well.
Right.
It seems like this is a 2-team race in the Eastern Conference, especially now.
Been that way. Miami
somehow
they
just
stole it last year. That was the biggest shocker.
2020 was weird. I didn't think Miami would get to the finals that year, but they just somehow find a way just to get it done. Spoelstra, great coach. Jimmy Butler,
hard-working crew.
Just a bunch of grinders.
They don't even want Harden.
They don't. No, because they know how he is.
Player. Right.
They're not going to have it, and it's now.
Then would you think Miami wouldn't take Anthony Davis? He's fixable.
They love to have Anthony Davis.
He's
They love to have Embiid.
So you see the difference I'm saying between Harden
yeah.
and Anthony Davis.
That's fair, yeah.
Is that Anthony Davis has something that's probably fixable. Harden, he just doesn't care about the championships. How can you don't show up to a game 7 that's possibly going to take you to the title?
Yeah.
That you never had and you claim you want it, and you're there, and you just don't show up.
It looked like you quit. It looked like you were fed up with Doc Rivers. It looked like Doc Rivers was fed up with him. I can't speak on it. Obviously, I wasn't there, but
different guys.
It just kind of looks like it.
Different guys.
If you're Joel Embiid, you see all this development right now. Now you're talking about giving the ball to Tyrese Maxey, who I think he's going to have a chance to be an All-Star this year, along with Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
But if you're Embiid, like, how do you feel about this whole situation? I don't went through all this stuff with Ben Simmons. I don't went through all this stuff now with Harden. Is it time for me to ask out of Philly?
Fultz, remember they drafted
Markelle Fultz, along with Ben Simmons. Is it time for Joel Embiid to ask for a trade to get out of Philly?
I think he should have been gone a long time.
Really?
To be honest. But maybe he's loyal to his team.
Loyalty's nice, but, like, I don't know, man. I feel like Embiid's starting to waste his best years in Philly.
How old is Embiid?
He's approaching, I think, 27, 28.
So he's still young.
Yeah.
Fairly. And if he gets an opportunity to go to a team that potentially can win the chip.
Miami. I like him in Miami. I like him with the Knicks. The first teams that came to mind were Knicks, Miami, and then Golden State. Golden State is like more than any team in the league, in my opinion, needs size. They need size more than anyone.
Or someone close to that.
Yeah.
Who can dominate and hold their own inside.
So you think Embiid should have asked out a long time ago?
Yes, I really do. I don't know why he stayed this long.
I guess maybe he loves Philly because Philly embraced him from when he first got started with
the injuries,
the injuries and all that. They stayed with him, so I don't know. I mean,
and I can appreciate that.
You can appreciate loyalty, but like nowadays,
look at
ain't about that. It's about
Giannis in Milwaukee. You know,
the organization has given him what he's wanted. They've listened to him, and they've gone out and gave him what they could to give him a championship, but now contend for more.
Right.
So, and Giannis signs an extension. I got no issues with that.
Right.
I still would like Giannis to be outside of Milwaukee.
We
don't think of Milwaukee as like a city you want to go to, like
Chicago.
Yeah, like Chicago, New York,
Lakers, LA. The Celtics.
Yeah,
the Heat.
But again, another guy that's been loyal to that organization for drafting him. I don't know if you ever saw his movie.
I saw it. It was great.
Yeah. Hey, look, I got no problem with that. You can't not like Giannis.
Almost sight unseen, and he put the work in. He is a guy
old school like Kobe,
who does not take time off.
No.
You can just see it. He's so physically imposing, and when he plays, he's just 110%.
If he could just get a consistent jump shot, he'd be unstoppable.
Unbelievable.
I mean, no one could do a thing with him if he got a jump shot.
You're right.
And like, it's amazing, like, cause you can see he works hard. So like, you wonder, like, what's up with his jumper? Like, why do you think he just hasn't really gotten it yet?
I think he's so tight and just cut up so much. It's just stiff, you know. Because when he shoots his free throws, it's almost like it's hard for him to release the ball.
His arms are so ridiculously long too. Yeah. So it's like you bring it up, but I don't know.
But if he gets with the right shooting coach. J.J. Redick, somebody like that.
Yeah, somebody like that.
That can help him get his form right. He'd be really tough wherever he played. Yeah. Because he's gonna go for 40 every night. He's not a player that will average in the middle of the pack. He's always going for the top numbers on rebounds and points.
Milwaukee and Boston, like I said earlier, it seems like a two-team race in the East. Who's winning the East? Who's going to the finals?
Boston.
I said Boston as well.
I watched Boston the other night.
I did too, but then last night I saw
Porzingis.
I know, like I'm going there.
Was the addition of the year.
I told you that it was going to be something. Like, he can shoot,
shots,
and he's playing defense now.
He's shooting the 3 ball. They talking about Victor out there in San Antonio, Porzingis is about that, almost his size, and is balling. I mean, really, he let New York know, you guys had me,
Yeah.
and you blew it. But he's so comfortable now.
Because he ain't got to be the guy.
But here's the other thing. Everybody doesn't look like they comfortable playing with him. What's the kid name? Got the $300 million.
Jaylen Brown.
He doesn't look comfortable.
He hasn't looked comfortable for a while, and it's more like. And this is where I was going to come back with Milwaukee. Watching Damian and Giannis last night, they play well off each other because
Giannis is not.
Yeah.
He's not competing with anybody for his.
No.
He knows it's his team.
Yeah.
And all he wants to do is win. And if that means deferring at the right time with a guy,
and he's playing the five, and he's playing the five at times where like they spread it out, and he's doing pick and roll with Dame.
Right.
Good luck stopping that.
Oh yeah.
So like, but the problem with the Celtics is that, and the reason why I think they didn't win the title the past couple of years, Tatum and Brown.
They can't play together well.
They're the same. They're technically the same player. They play the same. Like they play on the wing. Tatum is clearly the better scorer. There's no question about that. But Brown has been proven to be a pretty good defender. Yet he's the one that gets that $300 million contract.
Which to me,
what do you think Tatum's going to get?
But that money is, we keep going back to that.
Yeah.
But that money has almost ruined the game. It's so much money.
It's crazy.
And once you give a guy that much money,
there's going to be a $400 million contract or something.
But there's going to be an issue with other players.
Mm.
Everybody wants to be at the top.
Yep.
Now you got two guys on the same team.
Mm.
Shoe contract with Jordan.
Yep.
His own shoe.
Mm-hmm.
You give him Jalen 300. You got to get his boy four.
At least 350.
But he might not want 350.
That's possible too.
You understand?
Especially if they win.
Because he wants it to be known as his team. And then I thought they were going to trade Brown because that just made sense to me.
I thought they were going to let him go in free agency, quite frankly. I thought that if he had signed with Indiana, even a Sacramento, well, not a Sacramento, that's the Aaron Fox's team, but a team that needs a bona fide number one. I think Jaylen Brown is good enough to be that.
The Wizards. Anyway.
Decent. Before they got Jordan Poole.
They could have did that with Porzingis.
Yeah, they probably could have did that, but like they ended up signing him, and it's just like I feel like Boston is good enough on paper to win the championship.
Nobody else is going to pay him that kind of money.
No,
he's not a closer. We saw that.
We saw it clear as day. Like against Miami, Miami exposed him. He can't go left, and this guy got $300 million.
It's almost like he gets to a point where he gets stuck. It's like, oh shit.
Exactly. He can't go left.
So, again, the money you pay these guys, now you have to play these guys.
So think about all that. 7-game series, Milwaukee and Boston. We know what's probably going to happen, collision course, unless Miami comes out of nowhere and screws it up again. You got Boston winning this and going to the finals.
Yes.
Even with Dame and Giannis looking as good as they do, with the leaders that they have with Middleton and Brook Lopez, and Lillard, what do you think is going to stop Milwaukee from getting to the finals? Do you think it's Drew Holiday going to Boston and him being that person?
Drew Holiday was their guy. He was the glue.
Yep.
Just like Smart was for Boston.
Do you think Drew Holiday fills that Marcus Smart role?
Absolutely.
I think he's better than Marcus Smart.
He's actually a better player, but he feels. The question was, does he feel it? Absolutely.
Right.
He feels it, and it's overflowing because he gives them that type of offense as well.
Yeah.
And he knows everything about Milwaukee. You think he's not going to be a major asset when they preparing for that series?
My only concern with Boston is like the rim protection. Because say Porzingis gets in foul trouble or he gets hurt, who's going to be back there to really protect it? Because Robert Williams is now important. I didn't love that they lost him with this trade.
Right. Al
Horford is great, still a really good veteran, but like I don't think you're really going to depend on him for like shot blocking.
But you just like Williams didn't play a whole lot. Horford is your other big to get your minutes so Porzingis can come back.
Do you think Porzingis is going to be able to deal with Giannis for 7 games?
No.
The way he likes to go to the rim.
No. You got to put Horford on him. Muscle.
Maybe.
Muscle against those two went at it last year. If you remember.
You're right. And Horford actually got some stops. I was impressed.
He sure did.
That's true.
So you put Porzingis at the 4. You know, because every team you got to match them up different.
Yeah.
A lot of these teams seem to keep a certain starting unit straight on through the playoffs. But depending who you playing, the matchups change. And I think a lot of these coaches don't seem to realize that you can't put Porzingis on Giannis.
Yeah, that's a
death sentence.
That's a bloodbath.
So you put muscle, you let him help, which he does great.
Yeah.
Like the kid in San Antonio. He can't play anybody, but he can help.
Wembanyama, yeah, being an all-ball defender, yeah.
Right. And that changes shots.
This kid is just like an absolute alien. I remember I keep seeing a clip of Kyrie thinking he crossed one guy. It looked like he had an open pull-up, which we've seen him make 100 times. He comes out of nowhere and just absolutely just taps it like it's light.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a game changer if he hasn't already on the defensive end, especially. The strength thing, that's going to come later. He's not going to have that right away as a rookie. But you saw he fouled a lot in this first game. Didn't like that, but offensively you see the skill. Is he? And I don't want to compare. I hate to compare LeBron's rookie year with him. I feel like it's not fair.
No, it's not. LeBron's so much more.
Brian Windhorst is talking about his skill set is way more advanced than where LeBron was his rookie year. I don't know about that.
Ain't even close.
I don't know.
It's not close. If he wasn't 7'4", we wouldn't be talking about it.
That's true too. I think a lot of we get surrounded by this height. It's we don't see a lot of guys this height, obviously. Being able to handle the ball, doing things and shooting as well as he is.
Porzingis is 7'3"?
He's 7'3". He can do
same thing.
Essentially the same thing.
And a little more developed. So it's not like it's something we've never seen.
Fair.
So he's a couple years away. He's gonna be great.
Especially with Popovich and San Antonio.
As long as
that's what they do.
He puts that work in, and he keeps talking about not getting stronger and bigger. He's gonna have to.
He made a comment over the summer saying that the NBA was less physical than what he faced overseas.
It is.
Really?
They don't let you. Yeah, man. They don't let you push and bang and here you touch him. It's a flagrant 2, flagrant 1. Never heard of that overseas. What is a flagrant foul? It was a hard foul. It was a playoff foul. But now the NBA has made it so soft that, a guy like this kid can say something like that.
That's a bad look, I think.
It is. Give them all this money and make it easier for them to do what they do. But they're marketing it around the world. They're making money. It's all about the money. Bottom line.
We keep coming back to it. But yeah, lot of parity in the NBA. I'm excited for what can happen. We see Phoenix, we see Golden State.
In great hands. They got a lot of young talent. Even watching San Antonio, they got some young guys that can play. I
gotta tell you about young talent. Oklahoma City.
Oh yeah.
They got some guys that are coming up. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, we know about him. Mm-hmm. But Chet Holmgren, this kid can play. They got some guys.
Yeah.
And I think in a couple of years they really. And again,
they're gonna be like
a team that once again is built through the draft, like they did with KD, Harden, and Russ. But now you got a whole starting 5 that you drafted,
right? And
they got a chance to all be great,
right?
So that's I think
as long as they keep them all.
The hard part is keeping them together.
It's those contracts.
That's
and
the
that
contracts.
money, man. It's just
that's the contracts.
So.
But last topic here, going to the NFL. I got them up on the screen right now. Mid-season report for the Baltimore Ravens. They're sitting at 5-2. Argument could be made they should be 7-0. They choked. They coughed one up at home against the Colts. Pittsburgh, the pass catchers can't catch. 8 drops. I don't think we've seen that in a long time.
We still should have won that game.
We very much should have won that game.
That ill-advised interception in the end zone.
That was a bad throw. But 8 drops.
But not just it's a bad call. Should have been. We ran the ball 4 yards the first time. Mm-hmm. We were on the 10. Mm-hmm. 3 of those you're in the end zone.
Yeah. I literally said
3 of those,
I remember
you still get 3 points.
I remember literally sitting there saying, run that exact same play with Gus Edwards 3 more times. I don't care if you don't get a touchdown. Just run the exact same play until they stop it.
You can fake the run, fake the handoff, and Jackson can run it. Exactly. He's always good for some positive yards.
Yeah. So arguably maybe the Ravens should be 7-0 and probably the best team in football, but it's weird. But you saw the potential of last Sunday when they beat one of the best teams in the league in the Lions.
Surprise.
A lot of people were
Long
talking.
time for me.
A lot of people were talking about this game meant more for the Lions. I said, hold up. I've seen enough from Detroit to say that they're going to be very good. Exactly. I think this is a bigger game for the Ravens.
And they played like it was a big game.
They did.
They went after them boys. I was so glad, but I was worried. I said, we did good in the first half. Let me go to the gym.
You can't help but just have this anxiety because I've watched it live. Like Miami, we're up 35-13 on Miami, and we lose this game. Going into the fourth quarter, we're up 35-13.
Unbelievable.
To this day, so what are your thoughts about where the Ravens are right now? And we got a trap game coming up on Sunday. Arizona 1-6 at Arizona.
Yeah.
Ravens got a history of screwing up games like that, so you got a reason to feel nervous, but. All bias aside, do you think this Ravens team has what it takes to actually overtake Kansas City and get to the Super Bowl?
Playing like last Sunday, can beat anybody.
Are they capable of doing that consistently?
It's the Anthony Davis thing. We got to see that they can do this consistently. Hopefully these guys can stay locked in. You can't take a day off because you play in Arizona.
Can't do it.
You got to crush them guys.
They beat the Cowboys.
And then rest some of your guys.
Get up early, and then get your backups in there.
Get them done. Yep. Get them out of here. Rest Lamar.
Get all those guys out of there so they can avoid any kind of crazy.
Ice them up.
Yep.
Avoid any kind of crazy injury. And if they start that pattern of beating who you're supposed to beat,
yep,
we'll be in good position come playoff time.
Because then it comes down to if you get that first and second seed. I don't know if the second seed gets a bye. I know the first seed.
I don't want to have to play Pittsburgh to get in. I don't like it. I
wouldn't like that either.
I don't like it. It seems like they have our number some kind of way.
But T.J. Watt should be getting quarterback money right now because that offense looks terrible until the fourth quarter where they just all of a sudden find something and they find a way to win.
Right.
Mike Tomlin is an elite coach, one of the best we've ever seen. And these guys just find a way to get it done. I don't know how.
Yeah.
They are 4-2. They should not be 4-2. We should not have lost to them, but weird things have just happened to them, and it goes in their favor.
You're right. Some of the decisions that we make help.
It just helps. not catching the ball when
it's
in your hand.
Last
in your hand.
year.
Come on, man. There were 3 touchdown passes that they dropped, man. I'm sorry. Yeah. Aguilar just watches it goes through his hands. Bateman is all he has to do is just catch it. He jumps up, fumbles it. Snacks it down. It's like our receivers are playing defense.
Right.
So you look at that and it's just like I get pissed off because you see what we saw against Detroit. I knew that this is what the offense could be.
Everybody was anticipating it to be a great year for the offense for a change. Because we're finally going to do something other than just Lamar fake run or Lamar do everything. Right.
We finally got some guys in that, albeit are an upgrade. I don't think they're superstars, quite frankly. OBJ is the superstar, but he ain't look too great.
He was a superstar.
He still is by name, but on the field, it just hasn't been the same.
Flowers looks good.
I love Zay Flowers. I think he's going to be our first. I think he's going to be that first Pro Bowl receiver that we've drafted.
Yeah, number one, yeah.
Yeah, and now we're going up against a former Marquise Brown. Now, imagine Marquise Brown had a game of his career against us.
They're gonna crack his little tail. He's not. He's light, man.
But it happens all the time. When you're going against your old team, you go against your old guys, you end up having the game of your life.
Okay.
So it's one thing to think about. I don't think we're gonna let it happen, but if it did, it'd be like classic us, so to speak. Okay. But if you could give the Ravens,
if he plays a great game and they lose to us, I'll be happy for him. Okay. Please don't let him beat us.
Don't let it be don't let him be the reason.
Him be the reason, right?
Like he gets a fade route or something like that, and it takes it 60 yards for the score. Time runs out, something crazy like that.
Something like that. Like Antonio Brown did us.
Antonio
Brown
dunked
the ball over the line with time running out. Boom.
Antonio Brown, George Pickens recently, who I think George Pickens is scary. I think he's just as good as AB. Maybe better. I think he will be anyway.
Oh yeah.
He's that good. I feel like we decided to draft a center, and so when we had a chance to draft George Pickens, we drafted center.
Ozzy's not there.
Maybe, but even Ozzy's missed on a couple guys. He's never been able to draft like a wide receiver.
But he's
that
always,
panned
but
out.
the guys he did draft were very good defense.
We can draft some defense. We can draft a tight end. And we can draft a running back. Those are given for the Ravens. Even recently with quarterback. But for whatever reason, we can't seem to hit on wide receivers. Like, what do you think? Is that like a scouting issue? Like the guys that are scouting these guys are like overhyping them. Like, I've always had my mind boggled about how the Steelers find guys at wide receiver. Santonio Holmes, Antonio Brown, Hines Ward, recently George Pickens.
Right.
How do these guys like have this much success, and then another team just can't seem to figure it out? Now it seems looking good for Zay Flowers. I'll give Eric DeCosta props for that. But before that, Marquise Brown even like dropping touchdown passes almost cost us a game. Remember that game in Detroit?
He's playing better now.
Yeah, he's playing better, but the team ain't winning. So
maybe it's a lot about what team you play for.
Maybe.
This team never was known for having great receivers, so maybe a lot of guys
because we can't seem to draft
well.
We can't seem to draft them. That's the thing.
Right. Well, I mean, but they have to go through a process to get drafted.
Unpopular opinion. You got to go out with some guys that are not the best people off the field to get good players.
Exactly.
If I'm being honest.
But
Antonio Brown he's kind of a nutcase. But he's really, really good.
So was
Hines?
No. The one we got now, what's his name?
OBJ?
OBJ was a nut.
Yeah, I mean,
look at the boy up in
I wouldn't call him a nut. He just kind of dramatic.
He's nuts. The guy from Maryland is playing in Buffalo.
Stephon Diggs.
It's a problem. Cries and complains. Now they throwing him all the balls and they're not winning. He's satisfied with that.
You gotta give Diggs the ball though. Like, he's the reason Buffalo is what they are now.
Okay, now is Diggs as good as the boy out there in Vegas?
Devontae Adams?
Exactly. No. Is he as good as the guy in Miami? No.
Nah, he ain't touching Tyreek. No, he's not touching Tyreek Hill.
I mean, he's not the elite of the elite. You can help us win, but you can't want the ball all the time.
But how many diva receivers have we known over the years where they cry and play and they get the ball, but they end up winning? T.O. Chad Ochocinco. T.O. when he got to Philly, he got into a Super Bowl.
Okay.
You gotta give guys that the ball.
But
I feel like that's what AJ Brown with Jalen Hurts. You saw in game one, AJ Brown was basically coming to Jalen Hurts as they were walking off the field. Ever since then, they've been in sync. And Philly looks like back to what they were last year.
You're right.
So it's like it's weird. But
we don't
get those guys. But it's like I feel like you need one of those guys if you're really going to get over the top.
You're right. I mean, I'm in agreement with you. But our team seems to.
We don't do drama and we're very low key and all that, which
they
is
want
admirable.
Good quality.
The choir boys.
Guys, yeah.
Detroit Bad Boys. They weren't choir boys. That's how they beat Jordan.
Exactly.
You weren't taking out Jordan with some choir boys.
Well, maybe we'll learn something moving forward.
If you had to give the Ravens a grade right now overall, from where they are at 5-2, what would you give them right now?
B. A B.
Okay.
Because to me, they should be 7-0. Period.
Mm-hmm.
It's unlike at times a team is just better than you. No.
I don't see a team that I can definitively say is better than the Ravens.
So, and that's on both sides of the ball.
Our defense is almost number one in the league, I feel like. They might be number one now since Cleveland gave all those points to the Colts.
Right.
They've been lights out.
Exactly.
They haven't been the problem with these
There's
offenses.
no reason for us to be losing any more football games going down the line.
I agree. If you lose at San Francisco on Christmas Day, I can't really blame that. San Fran's really good, especially at home. But I think we have a chance of winning. I can't sit here and say
Detroit looked like that before we played us.
Okay.
Now they done lost 2 in a row, didn't they?
No, they played Monday night against Vegas, but
I thought they lost 2 in a row.
no, they lost the game against Seattle earlier before they came to us.
5-1,
yeah.
They're 5-2.
Yeah, they're 5-2 now. But they got a chance to probably win like 12, 13 games, I feel like, because they got an easy schedule.
Oh, they're tough.
Their division, they're running away with that division. There's
Right.
nobody there that can really challenge them.
All right.
But I don't know.
San Francisco's starting to stumble a little bit.
Yeah. Do you think that's Purdy getting kind of exposed, or you think it's just like bad break?
Bad break. Because their system is solid.
Mm-hmm. Got some injuries.
Solid.
Got some injuries now with Trent
Right.
Williams on the old line and Debo Samuel being out. He's not.
Exactly.
They're both. I don't think Debo's going to play on Sunday. Purdy's got a chance to get back. He's in concussion protocol right now.
Right.
McCaffrey is going to play, but I feel like if Darnold starts, I don't really see that big of a drop off. I feel
That's
like
what I've been hearing, that
Yeah.
it shouldn't be a drop off.
because like you said, the system is in place and it works.
Yes.
So I feel like you can plug anybody in there and really just have a
That's a
confident
pro quarterback. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is an awesome conversation. Got the great Ernie Graham. Thank you again for coming to the show. Appreciate you, man.
Love you, son.
Love you. Appreciate you, man.